We're going to turn our attention to Brexit. Yeah, it is Brexit Eve today. Yes, it really is. Happy Brexit Eve, everybody. And we're going to be talking in just a few moments to the Conservative MEP, formerly Brexit Party MEP, Lance Foreman, about the European Parliament events yesterday. First up, though, let's talk to the Liberal Democrat acting leader, Sir Ed Davey, who's called for Remain voters to come together with the rest of the country of what he is now calling Britain's dark day tomorrow. Good morning to you, Sir Ed.
Good morning, Julia. Lovely to be back on your programme.
Lovely to speak to you. I'm not entirely sure that calling the day that we become a sovereign independent country as a result of democratic vote, calling that a dark day is the way to start off this new era of coming together. Do you think that's really the way to do it?
Well, you won't be surprised to know that Liberal Democrats are pro-Europeans. We were yesterday, we are today, we will be tomorrow. And we represent many Remainers who will be sad that we're leaving the European Union. Some will be anxious as well. And while I totally accept that we are leaving the European Union and we can't
You do accept that now, just clarify. You do actually accept that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I accept reality. We lost referendum, the election, and although we fought the fight and we stood up for our principles, and I like to think that we built one of the strongest pro-European movements Britain's ever seen, we didn't succeed, and I accept that. But it doesn't mean that I change my values and my principles and my beliefs. And I don't think, Julie, you'd expect me to do that.
No, absolutely. But when you say you stood up for your principles, I think one of the problems a lot of Leave voters and a lot of Remain voters who accepted the outcome of the referendum post-2016 feel that what principle were you fighting for? You didn't like the outcome of the referendum and you didn't want it to happen. But I mean, there are plenty of elections and referendums that I've taken part in over my lifetime that I didn't like the outcome, but I never fought to overturn that outcome. I always accepted it. And I think a lot of people feel that all of the bitterness and all of the division that we've had in the last best part of 4 years has actually come about because this failure to give losers consent, that people like you and many in other different parties, it's not just the Liberal Democrats, did not accept the verdict of the British people.
Well, just to remind you that we always said, whether it was through a referendum or a general election, that the only way one could change the decision in 2016 was by the people's vote. And, I think you'll accept that we always said there had to be a democratic mandate, ideally in the people's vote or in a general election. And that hasn't been forthcoming. And that's why I'm happy to confirm today that we are accepting we're going to leave. And the real challenge for pro-Europeans like myself, like the Liberal Democrats, is to show that in the weeks, months and years ahead, as we turn to the next chapter of Brexit, because let's remember, Brexit isn't finished yet, and I know the Prime Minister wants to pretend that it has. It hasn't. There's going to be a lot of negotiations, hard negotiations, in the weeks and months ahead. And Liberal Democrats want to make sure that in those negotiations, the pro-European voice is heard. So give me a concrete example. Yep. Liberal Democrats believe in free trade. We have done for the last 2 centuries, and we believe that is better for people, for jobs, to keep prices down, to keep, make sure we're a prosperous country. And if we're going to have those benefits of free trade, we want to make sure that the negotiations result in the closest possible relationship between Britain and our European friends. And I fear that there are parts of the Conservative Party, possibly even the Prime Minister himself, who would prefer either a no-deal Brexit or a hard Brexit, which would reduce the opportunities of free trade. So if we're talking about being optimistic and seizing opportunities, one of the key ways of doing that is to make sure we remain with the closest possible relationship with Europe, and that's what Liberal Democrats will argue for.
But again, you're in favour of free trade, but only within the EU, because, of course, by having free trade being in the customs union and the single market in the EU, that doesn't allow us to have free trade with most other countries around the world, because that is the nature of a customs union. So when you say,
can I just say how wrong that is? Speaking as
that's literally what the EU is.
No, but I'm afraid, let me say, having been to the EU Trade Council myself as a minister representing our country for 2 years, having published a white paper on trade and investment.
Tell me what I said that was wrong, rather than your credentials for saying what it was wrong.
I'm just saying that I have.
No, you're giving me your credentials. I understand your credentials. I'm telling you,
having been, unlike you, Julia, I've been to the WTO in Geneva.
I don't see why that's relevant. What did I say that wasn't correct?
If you let me finish, because you're not.
No, because you're not giving me an answer. You're just telling me how wonderful you are, rather than telling me why I'm wrong.
I'm sorry if you felt it that way. I was trying to suggest that some of us have been in trade negotiations, and in the trade negotiations as an EU member, we managed to get free trade with the rest of the world. So, give you one concrete example. I was involved in negotiating the EU-Korea Free Trade Agreement, which was fantastic for British business. We were really motivated. Now, we've managed, I'm delighted to say, to replace some of the best parts of that.
Sir Ed, I'm only going to interrupt because we are running short of time. I've got another guest to get to, but we've wasted a lot of time with that. But Sir Ed, we can, but we currently have tariffs with large numbers of other.
Lose loads of those free trade from the exit, which is a real shame.
Sir Ed, nothing you have said in the last 5 minutes has contradicted what I said, which is you're in favour of free trade within the European Union.
And outside.
The EU imposes tariffs on numerous other countries' goods as part of its customs union.
What I'm looking forward to is the deal.
Do you not accept that as a fact?
You know what I'm looking forward to?
Do you not accept that as a fact, Sir Ed?
Mr. Trump is putting more tariffs on us and threatening to do that even when we leave the EU. The protectionism is going to be there. And the reality is if you're in the EU, as part of a trading bloc, you've got more power to stop that, and we're going to lose
And of course, again, if we're in the EU, we've got more power to get trade deals, which is why we haven't got one with the United States, with China or India as part of the EU, because the EU is so brilliant at negotiating brilliant trade deals. So Ed Davey, just final question. What are you doing tomorrow night?
Well, actually, I'm going to be at a party.
Are you? Are you going to be at a party celebrating Brexit?
No, you'll be really surprised to know, Julia, that I won't be.
Come to Parliament Square. Show that you believe in the democratic mandate of the British people. I'm going to be there. Come to the Parliament Square, wave your union flag, and let's all be friends together.
Julia, come to my party. I'll tell you what it is. It's a thank you party. I'm thanking the many, many people in my constituency who helped me get re-elected. And I believe in thanking people. And you'd be very kind because you had me on your programme many times during the election. I'd like to thank you too. So you're very welcome. We'll not be celebrating Brexit.
I appreciate the invitation, but I think I'm still going to be in Parliament Square. Have a great night, nevertheless. Ed Davey, acting leader of the Liberal Democrats.